So we'll be starting this DevOps series. So today's lecture we will be discussing about the on-premise DevOps environment. So first we will start with the on-premises, and later we will go through the AWS or Azure environment. And I would suggest that you create your lab on AWS, because AWS free trial account, it has 12 months validity, and whatever we are covering in this DevOps series, most of the things are free of cost in the AWS lab point of view. And maybe in the Kubernetes, we need EKS. But that will be little bit costlier. Means there you need to spend some money. Otherwise, most of the things are free of cost. So today is the first lecture, right? And we will talk about the SDLC first, right? Now the question is that why SDLC first? What does it mean? Why we are talking about SDLC? This course is for DevOps, right? So let me try to explain that. See, whenever we are talking about the uh, software development lifecycle, so software development lifecycle is basically starts from the developer. And so this is the developer, and developer is writing the code in some programming language. And at the end, that code will go into the live environment, which is your production, staging, or some environment, right? So that is the main motive of the SDLC, right? So let's first understand that a few things related to the SDLC. Then we will come to the DevOps, because DevOps is a process for SDLC. So we need to understand the SDLC first, then we will understand about the DevOps. Okay. So prerequisite of this course is that you need to be aware of basic commands of Linux. Okay. So I will be not covering Linux, but in case if you face any issue related to the Linux, you can you can ask me, I can explain those commands. Okay, but this course is not for the Linux, and we will be using Ubuntu most of the time for this training. Okay, do you have any idea what is the SDLC purpose?
I know it is like software development life cycle. It uh, shows the process of how the software is developed.
Yes, that is one part. That is one of the major part of the SDLC, because it starts with the software development. So it's a process basically. And it is a, when you develop the software in a planned, structure, or disciplined way, this is the software development life cycle. So here you are having certain sequence of phases, right? And at the end, from the initial to final deployment, ongoing maintenance, everything comes under the SDLC. So SDLC is a generic and methodology independent, can be applied waterfall model, agile methodology, or spiral methodology. And it is mainly focusing on the software creation and what are the tools which are used to push this code into the production. Right? So this is a developer, and developer is pushing the code into the production. That is the initial stage, you can say, very initial stage. It is not the first stage, but initial stage. And the outcome should be the code will be go as a product into the production. Okay. So now let us start with this diagram. So in this diagram, if you see here, whenever a project comes to the company, so step number one is that we get the requirement. So that requirement is given by the client. Okay, forget about that, how the project comes, what are the different roles, right? Like there is a product owner, there is a product manager, business analyst. So I'm just skipping all these terminologies. and I'm considering that project is reached to the company or reached to the project team, and they are going to develop this project. So project can be anything. For example, we are going to develop something like Google Apps. So Google Apps consist of a lot of applications, like there is a mail service, there is a blog service, there is a news service, there is forums or forms, right? And so on. Consider you, this project comes to you where you need to develop these applications. End to end means you need to develop as well as you need to deploy. So there is a difference between development and deployment. Do you know what is the difference between development and deployment?
Uh, Deployment means putting or giving that software or that deploying it like we deploy projects on GitHub. So that is deployment, right?
No. So deployment is the implementation. Okay. So for example, you have developed a project for mail service. Now it will be deployed on certain server, right? So then
Okay.
it is called the deployment. So
Deployment.
deployment
Okay.
is very commonly used term in the IT industry.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Now, so first, so client is saying I need the end to end means from development to implementation means development to deployment. Everything I give it to you, your company, and you need to develop this particular project and you need to deploy this project. So that requirement comes here. So requirement phase is the phase in the SDLC where you are getting the functional requirement. So when we talk about the functional requirement, so functional means something which business point of view means customer is saying, I need my end users, they can send the they can send the emails, they can create the blogs, they can read the news, right? So here client is mostly talking about the business related things. So that is called the functional requirement, right? Now, once those requirement comes to your technical team, so they need to convert that requirement into the technical way. For example, if you are saying there is a mail service, so now how to develop that mail service? What will be the database design? What will be the application design? Which technology is to be used, etc. Everything comes under the design. Again, design is a very big topic. I'm just explaining in one or two lines, but this is a very big topic, right? So I'm not going in that much detail about those designing. There are technical design, database design. There are a lot of tools we are using, like it depends, like you are using the Visio tool, which is one of the tool you are creating UML diagrams, etc. So all these things comes under the designing where the technical team comes into the picture, right? Here in the requirement time, maybe technical team role is not that much important. But when it comes to, convert these functional things into that technology, then technical team comes into the picture. Now, here we need to develop these applications. So it comes to the development team. So for example, mail service, blog service, ultimately. So there is a big development team, for example, and consider there are 100 members in that team, and 25 members, they are working on email, 25 members are working on blog, 25 members are working on news, and 25 members are working on the forms. So there are 100 team members, and they have divided into sub teams that they will be working on mail, blog, news, and forms. So there is a term which is called unit testing. Uh, do you know what is unit testing?
About unit testing,
Yeah,
where we test individual, like small pieces of code.
very good, very good. And who does this?
No, I don't have that idea. I just know they're tested independently.
Very good. That's a good point. See,
Okay.
for example, you are writing a code. So you are a developer and you are writing a code, and that code is ultimately tested by a tester. So some tester is to test that code. Before giving it to the testing team, you want to test it on your end. Okay. So you want to test on your end. So then what we do, developer is writing that unit test cases, and developer is doing the unit testing. Okay. So developer is the one who is doing the unit testing. So like if we are using Java, so there is a JUnit, Jupyter. So these are the frameworks which are basically made for the unit testing only. And these unit testing is not done by the testing team. This is done by the development team. Okay. So uh, if I ask you, Monica, can you develop this product, create the email service, or in the email service, maybe you need to create the login page. When you say, okay, I will create the login page, and before putting it into certain environment, like staging or testing environment, I want to test it on my end. So then you will write the unit test cases, and every programming language is having its own unit testing framework. And that unit testing framework is for the development team, and development team only they do the unit testing. Okay. So now for Python, there is unit test, PyTest. These are the uh, these are the unit testing framework. Now, once you have done everything, along with the unit test cases, you build the code. So there is one more term comes in between, that is called building the code. Building the code means now when you are writing the code, right? So you are using Java or Python or .NET, some programming language. And when you are writing that code is to be built into their executable files, right? So executable files are called the build. In Java, we call jar files, var files, right? In .NET, we use executable or DLL files, right? So so there are different build tools which we use. Like if we are using Maven, so Maven has certain commands like Maven install, Maven build, etc. Right? So those are the build, right? So build is the one with the help of that we are building the code, and then that executable we give it to the testing team. Now testing team is going to test that application, and they are testing uh, by integrating into the entire project. For example, you are having Gmail application, right? Or maybe you are having a blog. So the blog is to be the blog is to be tested along with the mail. Means, for example, if I say if you are logged in as a user, then uh, in that case, your blog should be logged in with your account. Okay. So it means mail service, blog service, news, forms, they are having a single sign-on. So they will be testing along with the other projects also, because for testing team, this will be an entire project. And this is called the integration testing. So whenever you are building the code at that time, you are checking your unit testing. Once the unit testing and everything is fine, then final testing will happen. And this final testing, if everything is fine, if it is not fine, they will go back to the development team and they will say, we found some bugs and you need to resolve those bugs. Once the testing is done, consider all the test cases are passed, then it goes to the implementation. Implementation is called the deployment, right? So your operation team. So here operation teams comes into the picture, right? Here testing team, here development team, here technical teams, here business related teams, right? So deploy here operation team, they will take your executable files and they will deploy it into the environment, and that live environment we call it production environment, right? So this is called the production environment. So operation team, they deploy your code into the production. Now your application is live. When the application is live, then operation team make it in the monitoring state. Okay, they will monitor the application, they will monitor the servers where it is deployed. If they will check the heartbeat, the application should not be down, there should not be a downtime. And in future, if something comes which is related to your, you know, uh, again deployment implementation, they will deploy it and monitor the application. So this is the SDLC. Do you understand this properly? What is the meaning of SDLC?
Yes.
Fine. Then let me ask some questions. Question number one. What is the purpose of the development team? Will they directly contact to the requirement team, or they will they will take the requirement from the technical team in most of the cases? So they will contact to the means product owner, means who is the client, or they will talk to the technical team.
Okay, so the development team is responsible for building the product. So
Right.
that is their responsibility. And like all the responsibility. And for the next question was if they take the requirements from the owner or the technical team.
Yeah. Means owner means client or from the technical
Hmm.
team.
Hmm.
So which one from which team they mostly they need to deal with?
So they mainly take it from the owner and like from the client itself, right?
No, actually here the technical team. See, technical team will
Okay.
create the test cases.
Hmm.
They will create the test cases and they give that test cases to the development team. You need to develop this. Now, development
Okay.
team will have very less exposure about the client, what client is asking. So design team may have that proper, knowledge about that, but development team, they are, for example, they are working on the mail, right? So they may know that there are some other applications uh, to integrate, but they don't know what is happening in blog, what is happening in other. They are mostly concentrating on the mail, and this is provided in the form of the test cases through the technical leads. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah. Now tell me here where the operation teams comes into the picture. In which phase?
The operation team. Uh,
Yeah.
in operation teams will come in the maintenance, mainly in, when they're implementing and the maintenance part.
Yes. So these two parts. So when the implementation come, operation teams. Now tell me next question, whether operation teams are development team?
Operation teams are development. They are for
Yeah. Is it?
the implementation phases, right?
Yes. So development team is
Hmm.
separate. They follow
Separate
the
and
instruction what
deployment.
development team
Hmm.
they had given, but it is not the development team. They are the operation. They are they
Operation
have,
for deploying.
yeah, they are owning the server. They are implementing our solution development solution. Okay. So software development life cycle is a process, okay, which is basically related to the software development. Good. Now, let us talk about one more thing. What do you think when this SDLC started? Any idea? 2000,
Mm,
2005, before 2000?
this was like the first model. So I think like way before, like after this only waterfall, spiral, agile model came into picture. So I think before like 1970s, 80s.
Very good, very good, very good. Great. See, if we talk about Unix operating system, so that was developed in 1969 somewhere, and C language was in 1972. So it means they have developed not for themselves, they have developed for some customer. So it means at that time, there will be some process, right? So it may not be the standard process, but there will be some software development life cycle processes was there, and they were following that one, because without following this software development life cycle standards, it's very difficult to follow the entire end-to-end software development. So software development life cycle is way before, you know when even I was born. Before that it was. Now, my next question is that, tell me whether networking team is part of SDLC.
Uh, Networking team. I don't think like not in every phase. No, I don't think networking is part of SEO.
Okay, yeah. Uh,
Networking is after like making the product maybe.
See, for example, you are developing a product which is a web application and it is connecting to a database. So, do you think it needs a networking?
Can you repeat?
So, you are developing a web application and that web application will connect to the database. Definitely, it needs a means
Then
not
it
on
needs.
your system, but maybe when it goes into the production. So there will be two different types of servers. One is application server or web application server, which is connecting to a database, right? So it's a DB server.
Okay.
So in that case, yes, how they will connect? Networking. So networking is
Okay.
not directly part of that, but you can say indirectly, yes, it is a part. So from my point of view, if you are in IT company, so you are directly or indirectly connected to SDLC. For example, if I say HR, right? So HR is human resource team. They are basically recruiting the resources. If they don't recruit the relevant these resources, then how the development will start? So they are not directly attached to the SDLC, but yes, somewhere their role also comes into the picture. If we talk about the networking team, as I mentioned, if we talk about the, maybe firewall team, those who are opening the firewall for the servers, right? Opening the ports. So they are also. So everyone is directly or indirectly, maybe not majorly, but somehow they are attached to the SDLC. So SDLC is definitely required, because if we talk about AI also needs the development. So SDLC is required, right? If we talk about Data science. So data science projects, they are also means you need development. That also comes under the SDLC. If we talk about the if we talk about the you know say data engineering, right? Data breaks, data lakes, etc. So these SQL, this also you know this is also the part of SDLC. So SDLC we cannot skip when we are working in the IT industry or IT related projects. Right. No? So let us just you can walk through these phases. So requirement analysis, understand what user and the customer needs. The output is that requirement specification document. And in the design, we are creating the design. Output is the high level design and low level design. High level designs are, functional, and low level design basically where it is given to the development team. Development, their output is that they just need to create the actual source code and they need to do the unit testing. And testing is the integration testing, validate your software, and implementation is that live or install your software system. And maintenance is the improved and stable software. Right? So this is basically SDLC. Now, when the SDLC was there, then time to time there are different methodologies were there. So this methodology, which is the waterfall methodology, so this is our first methodology in the SDLC. So if you see whenever from a fall, how the water goes down, it goes down like this only. So that's why it is called waterfall model. This is also called the sequential model, and this is the first model or standard model for the SDLC, waterfall model. So here, you get the requirement. Once the requirement is finalized, you start working on the design. Once the requirement is done, you cannot change the design, right? Or you cannot change the requirement once you reach to the design phase. Once designing is done, then the implementation, not that implementation, it is basically the development, you can say. The development gets started, unit testing gets started. So system design cannot be changed, right? And once the development is done, then testing and development, they work together because there may be some bugs. So those bugs are to be rectified by the development team, but it is according to the system design. Once the integration testing is done, then deployment. And once the deployment is done, then it will be maintenance. So this is called the waterfall methodology. So waterfall methodology is the traditional SDLC, right? And it is a software development carried out with the linear or sequential manner. Each phase must be completed fully before moving to the next phase, right? That is what. No overlap between the phases. It is called waterfall because progress flows downward like waterfall, right? Now, let us see some more points related to this. So this is something that requirement analysis and then system design, implementation, testing, deployment, implementation. This is implementation is the development. Okay. Now, so this is the same thing like we have discussed previously, right? So now here, what are the key characters? Key characteristics. So when we are talking about the waterfall model, so it is 40 to 60 days, working days is the minimum time. Okay. So key characteristics of the waterfall model, it is linear. Each phase has clear uh, definition for the deliverables and easy to understand and manage. Changes are difficult once the phase is completed. Advantages, it is simple and easy, clear documentation suitable for small or well-defined projects, and easy project tracking and management. Right. So now this was the first methodology. See, whenever the first time anything comes, so this is something which is coming with some limitations, which will be modified in the upcoming processes. So disadvantages: not flexible or changing the requirement. Late testing increase the risk. Working software is delivered very late, right? Not suitable for complex and long term. If it is a long term, maybe 3 years project, right? So client is giving the requirement on day one. After 3 years, he will come to know that this is my product, market product. Right? So when to use: when the requirements are clear and stable, technology is well understood, project scope is fixed, short duration project. Waterfall methodology is a linear SDLC. Each phase is completed one after another, no overlap. Is this clear to you?
Yes.
You have already understanding about this.
Yes.
Now let us talk about the next model, which is the or methodology, which is called the agile methodology. In agile methodology, what we are doing, you know, we are dividing a project into small project, okay? Small projects, and those small projects are, you know, we will be working on this. For example, you need to create the email application. So you are saying, okay, let me work on the login page. So you will create a SDLC, phases into this login page only, like build, plan, and requirement, development, testing, only for login page. So this is called iteration, one iteration. Once in this iteration, what you are doing, you are also contacting to the customer, and you are saying, hey customer, I have developed this code, is it okay? So customer, for example, he wants some changes, so changes are allowed. Okay, changes are allowed, and each iteration is mostly 1 to 4 weeks of time, because we are working on a very small part of the project. This can be built or this can be tested within 1 to 4 weeks. So methodology is iterative and incremental. What is incremental? Another iterative approach I'm creating for inbox, for example. So this is incremental after this one, right? To the software development, where projects are broken into small and manageable units called iteration or sprint. So sprint is a very commonly used term in Agile. This will indicates the iteration or timeline. Okay. So instead of delivering the entire software at the end, Agile focusing on the frequent delivery of the working software, continuous feedback, and adaptability to change. Continuous feedback from the customer. So customer gives the feedback, yes, I need this change. So changes are allowed. Adaptability to change. So it is emphasizing on the, see now, as in the waterfall model, customer comes into the picture in the requirement and when the project is implemented, right? But in agile methodology, customer is keep in touch with the development team, right? So customer collaborations and flexibility to changing the requirement, continuous improvement, early or frequent delivery, right? So for example, if you think login and inbox pages, these are two parts, we can, put it into the production or live. So that will be fast delivery. Now, so here, when we talk about the Agile manifesto, so Agile is based upon certain keys. Number one, the individual and interactions over the processes and tools, right? So they are basically um, Means everyone is interacting with the processes and tools are used. Working software over comprehensive documentation. So everything is documented. Even the documentation is there in the waterfall model, and that is too much documentation because you know there is very less tool were used. Most of the things were manual. Testing was manual, right? And unit testing was manual, right? So here customer collaboration over the contract negotiation, right? If any change is required, so over the time you are basically development team or that team lead, they are contacting to the customer on each iteration, right? Responding to change over following a plan, right? So these are the manifesto of the agile. So there are different sprint as I mentioned, this is the timeline, 1 to 4 week, and product backlog, refinement meetings, daily stand-up meetings. So these are certain terms which I will discuss in a bit. So these sprint goals in 1 to 4 weeks, what you are going to do, what are the backlogs? Backlogs means the pending items, right? What we are doing in the sprint planning meetings, etc. So work is divided in a short cycle, 1 to 4 weeks. Each cycle delivers a usable product increment. Feedback is taken on every cycle. Requirements evolve over the time. Now, agile is a process or philosophy, and it is implemented in different frameworks and processes. So, first framework is called the Scrum. So, Scrum is the agile framework. Okay, it's a agile framework, right? Which is very commonly used. What it is, work is done in the fixed length of sprint, usually 2 weeks. Focus is on teamwork and accountability. Accountability means ownership. So here, product owner, which is called client, Scrum master, who is following the Scrum process or agile process. Mostly it is your, lead who is basically leading the development team, operation team, and development team, right? So here we are also talking about the artifacts. So artifacts are nothing but these are the, what is that means like product backlog, product pending items, sprint backlog, sprint pending items, increment, it's one after another. Ceremonies. So we are having sprint planning. What is sprint planning? That how you will progress in that particular sprint. So sprint means timeline, right? So there are like you are having sprint one, sprint two. In sprint one, what you are doing? Daily stand-up meeting. Whenever you are following uh, following sprint, this agile or Scrum process, you are having the uh, you are having some meetings daily, 15 to 20 minutes meeting. That is called the Scrum daily stand-up meetings, where you will discuss with entire team that is there any roadblock, is there anything where you need the help, or if you want to share something. Mostly it is 15 to 20 minutes meeting. Sprint review. So you review. Retrospective. These are basically the in the sprint when we are talking about here. If you see, right? So here you are basically again meeting with the people and you are just talking about the project details. So that is the retrospective and project review also. So based upon the project and frequently changing requirement. Same way, there is another implementation which is the extreme programming, which also we use, but mostly we use the Scrum only. So here we use certain terms like uh, pair programming, test-driven development, continuous integration, simple design, frequent release. Kanban is another implementation which is used for the visualization or the workflow management. Means, for example, you want to see the dashboard, you want to see all the work items into visual way, then you use the Kanban, right? So work visualized on the Kanban boards and continuous delivery, no fixed sprints, and it limits the work in progress. Right? So best suited for the support project. Now, lean methodology is the or lean software development. Right here, what we are doing, we are talking about the wastage, especially to eliminate the waste. For example, you are having 10 servers, but actually you need 5 servers. So here you identified that 5 servers are extra. So in that case, you will contact to the team and with a plan, you will remove these 5 servers. It delivers fast, okay, build quality in and continuous. So it is basically to optimize the processes and efficiency, as I mentioned. Right. One more is that, which is the crystal methodology. It is mainly focusing on the people and their communication, right? so So it is mainly used for the small or mid-sized teams, right? It is mainly focusing on the people and their communication. So you just walk through this. We have already discussed these things, right? Now, agile methodology advantages. So it is that also we have discussed, right? Means we adapt the change, early delivery of the working software, better customer satisfaction, reduce the risk because we divide the project into small projects. So risk is minimal. Now the disadvantages. Disadvantages is less documentation because we are using mostly tools, requires strong collaboration, difficult to eliminate the cost and timeline initially, right? So initially you cannot estimate the cost, right? Later means because the customer can ask for the change. Not ideal for the fixed scope projects, right? So this is the agile methodology. Now here in the agile methodology, as I mentioned that there is a Scrum. Scrum is a agile framework only, and we discussed about these, right? So here there are certain terms. Product backlog. It is nothing but it is create. So product backlog means what are the items which you need to work on and these are pending, right? So that is called the product backlog and it is defined by the client or the product owner. It contains the uh, priority of on the basis of features, enhancement or bug fix. Right? Sprint. So sprint is nothing but the timeline, as I mentioned. So it is the same thing, just in more detailed documentation. I have mentioned it here. I would suggest that just go through this one, right? It is not that much that retrospective, what went well and what did not go well. So this is in that meeting we discuss how to improve that, right? So is it okay? Will you go through this because this is more theoretical and I have given you the idea about that.
Okay.
All right. So let's wind up. And there is a one more point which is agile versus waterfall model. So this thing also, please go through this one. This is the repetition because I would suggest that mostly we will work on the DevOps process. These are before DevOps. So Uh, just today, you just go today or tomorrow before coming to tomorrow's class. Just walk through this. Very simple, right? Maybe you have already know about these things. So from tomorrow, we will start the DevOps processes. We will talk about what is DevOps. And if tomorrow time permits, then we will start the version control system also. And this link I will put it on the description. Any question?
No.
So let me end the call. See you tomorrow. Thank you and bye.
No.